First, let's pay homage to the Venerable Mang Liaoming, to Master Sakya Zengkong, to the 16th Dharma King Karmapa, and Master Thupten Tarji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar, and homage to the main deity of Homa, the Yamantaka. Homage to the main deity of Homa, Yamantaka Heruka. Homage to the main deity of Homa, the Yamantaka Heruka. Sumo all Dharma Masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, all disciples here, present here over the webcast, and our guest of honors today, the attorney to the accountant to the True Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sisters Teresa and her husband, and the wife of the board of director of the Overseas Chinese Warranty and Trust, Miss Vivian Chi, and the president of the Natrin Company, Dharma Sister Winnie Xie and her daughter. So today we practice Yamantaka Homa. So here the Yamantaka appeared in the space, the Yamantaka that appeared, and the wisdom Yamantaka, we pay homage to them. Good afternoon. In Seattle, America, we should say, that's in Cantonese. How do you do? Yamantaka is GrandMaster's protector, and his origin is 3. That's his original ground, and his origin is also Amitabha's, and he is a manifestation of Manjusri Bodhisattva that look like Yama King and has even greater power than the Yama King. And his name is the Mara Subduer. So he could subdue Yama King. So the meaning of this name is the Yama Subduer, the one who can subdue the Yama King. That's the mantra. And I added Om Alabhatan. So, Om Alapajanati and Om Sri Kalalupa Hom Kansoha and Om Yamantaka Hom Be are all interrelated. So, the meaning of them are the manifestation of Manjushri Bodhisattva who can subdue the Yama king. So it is difficult to visualize the look of Yamantaka. He has many heads, and he has many legs, and he has many hands. So in visualizing, typically we just visualize one face, two arms, and two legs. And the right arm, the right hand, is holding a curved knife, and the left hand is holding a skull cup. And both legs are stepping on the lotus, one bent, one straight. And the true Yamantaka has 6 heads, 6 arms, and 6 legs. And another one has 32 heads, 32 arms. And that's called the 13 deity Yamantaka. So Yamantaka, there's the so-called the 13 deity altar, refers to the last one. And his Dhamma power is very ferocious. According to the Japanese Tantrayana, my protector should have been Akalanata. According to the Japanese Tantrayana tradition, there are a number of yidams, or main deities, and for the Chinese zodiac rooster should have Akalanata as his yidam. But interestingly, after practicing Akalanata for a period of time, I don't feel such strong responses, although I do have responses. But in my practice of Akalanata, Yamantaka appeared to me. And at that time, I felt my body is like the big ocean, and the water was have big waves, was turning. It's like fires. The water is like fires turning in the space with great power. And at that time, I realized that my protector was not Akalanata, but it was Yamantaka. And today, when I form mudras, I do it consciously. Like what mudra I would want to form. But today, all of a sudden, Yamantaka descended. And I felt that Yamantaka formed the mudras for me. But as he was forming the mudras, I was conscious of forming the mudras. And there were Bardu deliverance, curing sickness, increasing wisdom and merits. There's for respect, love, and also subjugations. All the 6 attainment practices are included. It seemed that the mudras are simple, just forming a few simple mudras, but I felt that his power is extremely great, and he could control my body and my arms and my legs. My whole body was under his control. So I feel that all of your requests today, or your wishes or prayers, would be fulfilled, because the mudras were not performed by me but was by Yamantaka. So you know Yamantaka Dharma practice. There should have been all kinds of sadhanas in there. So GrandMaster's Yamantaka, or True Buddha School's Yamantaka, is transmitted from Tupten Nima to Tupten Tali, and then to Tupten Tarji, and then to Tupten Jimo. That's the lineage. And Tupten Jimo, in the Tupten sect, it's GrandMaster's Dharma name, Tupten Jimo. And the Yamantaka sadhana came from Tupten Nima. And Living Buddha Lien Sheng transmitted Yamantaka's Dharma teaching is in book number 112, which is the tantric Dharma practices. So Manjushri Bodhisattva entered into the body of Yama King, and from the wind transform out the wind of the four elements, and the mantra is Lang Yang Kang. Yang is generation, so that's why those with the family name Yang can listen to the Dharma teaching and receive the empowerments, but cannot practice this practice, cannot perform this practice. There is this restriction, because the Yang means the turning of the wind. So maybe there is some collision there. But it's okay to recite the mantras, but do not do the practice. And then people think, how about those with the sheep zodiac? It sounds like Yang, but that's fine. Only family name Yang. Otherwise you would ask, how about if your skin itch in Chinese also called Yang? When I live in Taiwan, my feet would be itchy because it's very humid there, and it will not be, it doesn't happen here in the States, but here in the States my skin would itch. So if you say, because the sound Yang can apply different things, and if you say that your skin itch, does it mean that I cannot practice it? No, but that's not the case. Because if you disallow people with itchy skin to practice it, then there many people will not be able to practice it, but that's not the case. Lang Yang Kang. Lang means fire, Yang means wind, Kang means void or emptiness. So let's continue on Hevajra chapter 43. The last chapter? Oh no. Oh no. That's the end of it. There's this joke. Toward the end of the Qing dynasty, the last emperor, he was very young. What is he called? Fu Yi. Fu Yi, the last emperor, got on the throne, but he was still young and surrounded by all the ministers and the generals, and they cried out loudly and paid and bowed to him, and he was scared. There's so many people shouting at him. Long live the president, the emperor. And he got scared and cried. And the attendant to him told him, "Please don't cry. It's about to end soon." And it turned out the throne did not last very long, because he cried, very scared, and cried really badly. So the emperor's throne, he wanted to run away, and then he was told that please don't cry and don't run away, because it's about to end soon, and the Qing dynasty truly ended soon. So now this is almost ending. Hevajra 2 is almost, or Hevajra's exposition is about to end soon. So chapter 43, Attaining the Way. From my personal experience in Kalachakra Dharma practice, we spread our own Buddha nature, which is the blue-colored great radiance, the clear light in blue color, to our whole body. Use the qi to spread it all over the body, and momentarily the whole body becomes completely dissolved. And practicing in this way will definitely allow one to attain the deathless rainbow attainment. The body is transformed to become rainbow light. And a lot of people who practice Kalachakra from the distant past, they passed away in a seated position, and when their bodies are touched, the body became a heap of ash, or a heap of sand, and the body and mind were gone. So that's the sign of attaining the way. They attain Buddhahood directly in this lifetime. And Master Lianhua Yiming from Montreal, Canada, the old monk that was called Lianhua Yiming, when he was cremated, the whole body, the bones, was being crushed, and all the bones became pearls of sariras, like grains of rice, the whole body. So that kind of attainment is about the same as this attainment. One of them is the body transformed to become rainbow light, and an arch of rainbow to the sky. This is the greatest one. You do not leave anything behind. And the next kind is the body becomes a rainbow light flying toward the sky, and what's left is just nails and hair. So they still leave something behind. And the third great attainment is the attainment of this Master Lianhua Yiming, that the whole body becomes sariras, that the bones and the ash are sariras. So that's the third kind of attainment, of the great attainment, whole body sariras. And most or many of them would have some sariras. In the future, when GrandMaster are to be cremated, if you see a rainbow, then that becomes the rainbow light. And go away with the rainbow light. So if you see the rainbow light in a flash, that's good. And if you don't see rainbow, can't you create a rainbow? When there's a sunshine, you just spray some water, there would be rainbow shining. Then there would be a little bit of glory there. But when there's no rainbow, when one is being cremated and there's no rainbow in the sky, no rainbow appearing, then you can check whether it would be like Lianhua Yiming, where there are sariras all body. But if you don't see any sariras, you can check the skull, because there are light drops rising to the skull, and there would be like beads of sariras attached to the skull cup, to the skull. Skull cup, also called kapala in Tibetan. And you can check and pick on use a Precepts. But if you can't find sariras on the skull cup, and what? GrandMaster don't have sariras even after all that practice? Well, at least he has two. Not every man has two, but it's the two that's on my 2 ears. I have two sariras that I carry with me in my birth. So there, this ear, what we call at this earlobe, there are two sariras. If you get close to me, I can let you rub the ears, and there are two of them. I can feel it when I rub it. I don't know whether you would feel it. So I return to my original face, because these are the two that I carry to this life, and then I can carry back these two. So you wait and see. But look at Lianhua Yiming. He didn't say anything, he just do his practice. Root Guru mantra, he had chanted over 8 million times of the Root Guru mantra, and also other sutras, and he recite the mantras and incant Buddha Amitabha and do the tantric practice every single day. He's in over 90s. These days, even the high monks don't necessarily have them. But in True Buddha school, we have Master Lianhua Yiming, who has the whole body sariras. This is called Bansai. That's Japanese for long life, long live. So True Buddha school is truly incredible. So as the ordained monks and nuns, we have to abide by the precepts. We have to keep the precepts. We can say that by keeping the precepts, you can generate sariras in your body. But if you don't, it's hard to generate sariras. So in order to attain the way, first you have to keep the precepts. And in the future, I will transmit the Dharma practice of Pindolu, the long brow sage. So for all the Sravakas to have attainments, they have to abide by the precepts. And also the same for bodhisattvas. In order to attain bodhisattvahood, you have to keep the precepts. So the least the requirement for a Sravakas is never to harm others. If you harm others, you don't even qualify to become a Buddhist. So the first precept for the Sravakas is never to harm others. But for Bodhisattva path, not only you don't harm others, you have to help others. That's the spirit of the Bodhisattva path. The difference between Hinayana and Mahayana. And for Hinayana, the first precept is never to harm others. But for Mahayana, there are two precepts. Not only you do not harm others, you have to help others. That's most important. So the precepts are the foundation. Everyone has to abide by the precept. There's this joke. Someone asked the Guru, Guru, you never drink alcoholic drinks? And the Guru said, it's like, I have sinned, I have sinned. You never drank even before you become a monk? And he still said, I have sinned, I have sinned. And how come? Yeah, this is play of words of Chinese. How come you don't understand? Because this I have sinned also means I've gotten drunk. So of the 5 precepts, the lightest is not to be intoxicated or not to drink. But still you cannot drink. So if you drink and drive, that's a big crime. So some people, after drinking a lot, they still drive. it would create accident, maybe hit people, or maybe you would die yourself. Maybe it would be too late to regret. Not only you get a penalty, but maybe you would be jailed. So in United States, drink and drive is a serious crime, and it's the same in Taiwan. For spiritual cultivators, we cannot drink, because when you get drunk, you would lose self-control, and then you would do all different things, but you don't even remember them. That would be crime. So in your spiritual cultivations, in order to attain the way or to attain Buddhahood, you have to keep the precepts, and there are many precepts in Kalachakra Dharma practice that we have to abide to. But in Hevajra Dharma practice, one trains one's own Buddha nature into the Yidam's body of the self-nature. When the appearance of the deity and one's mind and chi are in communion, becoming one taste. Just now, when I did the Yamantaka Homa, the deity entered into my body and he controlled my hands, forming the mudras. I was conscious of them, but the hands were under his control. And some of the mudras were the mudras that I never encountered before. I don't know what mudras he formed. When your mind and chi, when your heart and the chi of your whole body merge with the deity, that would become one taste. And what is that taste? Is that you are Yamantaka. Like before, when I do the visualization of enter me, I enter, is that I am the Yamantaka. I am the Yamantaka who's performing the Dharma. That's called one taste. So when you unite your mind and chi and the Buddha nature of Yamantaka, so the mind and chi is the same as Buddha nature. So your Buddha nature and the Buddha nature of Hevajra. So Buddha nature and Buddha nature combine and becomes one taste. So this is called the yoga of one taste. So when I was in communion earlier, that was called of one taste. This should be very clear to you. This is a joke. The Chinese from the mainland, the PRC mainland, are free to go to Taiwan these days. And they go to Taiwan to visit relatives. And in the business lounge, in the airport lounge, they felt thirsty and asked the attendant there, could you please give me a cup of tea water, the literal translation. Because tea is water, water is tea. Tea and water is the same. For Taiwanese, it's different. And the stewardess is Taiwanese, and she smiled and asked, do you want tea or water? Tea is tea, water is water. But for the mainland Chinese, they say tea water. And the mainland Chinese say, the tea water is tea water. You always like to go separate. That's just a joke. So one taste is the tea water from mainland China. Separated, tea is tea, water is water. GrandMaster, don't drink tea. Please don't give me tea leaves. Simu also don't drink tea. But it's okay for you to give me. And the more expensive the better, then I can give it to our VIPs. Many people do not know that GrandMaster and Simu don't drink tea. Because when I drink tea with tea leaves, then I will not be able to fall asleep at night. There's some people that cannot fall asleep after drinking coffee or tea, and I'm one of them. Anything with caffeine I cannot take, because I would stay awake all night looking at the ceiling. And then I would know that insomnia is really miserable. One time, I was with Lian Bao's dad and Lian Bao and Lucy. We were dining together, and then they ordered coffee, and I was very brave then because Lian Bao's dad was there, and I drank the coffee, a cup of coffee. Oh, and it tasted so good. Because I only walked by the aisle where they sell coffee beans, and I would took a deep breath a couple of times. It was very fragrant. But this time they ordered cappuccino. Oh, it's a small cup. One more cup. And one more cup. And then that night, my two eyes were wide open looking at the ceiling. How come I still don't fall asleep? And I have to perform ceremonies the next day. I still couldn't fall asleep. And then the next day, I was really weak. I still have energy all day long. And the night, I still couldn't sleep for 3 nights in a row because I drank 3 cups. Oh, it was so horrible. From then on, I don't dare to drink anymore. And some people say, just take a sip. And they ask, GrandMaster, you want some coffee? No, thank you. Want some tea? No, thank you. I don't dare to take anymore. So the Chinese, mainland Chinese would say tea water. So in this joke, they talk about tea water, and the Taiwanese asked, you want tea or water? And then they said, oh, you just like to always go separate ways. So the Bardo spirit don't appear, and what's left is that the Yidam. So attaining direct Buddhahood in this lifetime, you don't go through this Bardo state. So you are in communion with the deity. The deity is you, and you are the deity. Then you let go the physical body, you become the deity, and you arrive at the Buddha land. You attain Buddhahood directly. They don't go through the Bardo state, and the Bardo state is the spirits. There's no spirits. Like when you die, what appears is the Buddha. Don't go through the spirit state or the Bardo state. But typically, when a person dies, when they die, they become a spirit and then unite with the Yidam or the Buddha, or guided by the Yidam or Buddha to the Buddha land. That's not called direct Buddhahood in this lifetime. But attaining the way or direct Buddhahood in this lifetime is when you die, you transform directly to become Buddha and you don't go through the Bardo state. So the Bardo or the spirit don't appear. You attain Buddhahood directly. What's left is the body of the Yidam. And then you want to be released from the shell or the body to attain the way and only have the Yidam's body from the tip of the crown, and the Hevajra enters into the Hevajra. You unite with Hevajras, the great radiance of Hevajra. Then you attain the way, and this is attaining Buddhahood in this lifetime. As long as the Bardo state don't appear, then that would be the attainment of the illusory body, or the attainment by recitation the mantra. So the only way to eliminate your fats is to exercise. So you have to warm up the fire. Like when you exercise, you generate the heat, and then it burns away the calories, burn away the fat. And the patient said, the doctor is talking nonsense because my wife talks all day long, but her chin is double chin. So women talking, can they burn fat? No. They have to exercise. They have to generate the heat all over the body and sweat. Only this is called exercise. When you sweat and you feel hot or warm all over your body, that's called exercise. And this kind of exercise can burn fat. So in our spiritual practice, it's the same. You have to concentrate the mind and the chi of the whole body to become the Yidam, and then to send it off to merge with Hevajra. Your own Hevajra merge with Hevajra and then become the great radiance. And this is called attaining the way or direct Buddhahood in this lifetime. In the Yamantaka Dhamma practice, with the same, that the radiance that's as big as the thumb, the blue color light, as big as this thumb at the center of the heart chakra. This is called seeing the Buddha nature. And you push the home character up to the throat, to the brow chakra, and like the feather blown in the breeze, flying out like the dove, leaving the window, flying out, and entering into the heart of Yamantaka. This is the attainment of Yamantaka. There's also no bardo, no reincarnation, and it is also the attainment of recitation and attainment of the illusory body. And that's a direct Buddhahood in this lifetime. So, out of the 5 Heruka practices, the one unique thing about it is the Kalachakra Dhamma practice, which is by the use the physical body to dissolve the physical body into nothingness. So the whole body, the four limbs, the head, everything are transformed to become space, to become nothing, nothingness. That is the attainment of the rainbow light. So of Master Yiming is the third grade attainment, which is whole body sariras. So of all the sariras, whole body sariras is best. But of all the great attainments, the first best is the rainbow light attainment with no leftover. The second is with a little bit of leftover of nails and hair. And third is with the sariras leftover. That's truly an honor. Let me share another joke. At the gate of the university, they placed a statue, and one is holding a book, and the other one is holding a peace dove. And they asked the students to write the title of this statue. This is Chinese. So what use is studying? Niao Yong, which has to do with the bird in Chinese. The newly confirmed Rinpoche, this young Rinpoche, 9-year-old Rinpoche, called Dutan Siddhi, is the manifestation of Siddhigarbha. And I asked him to study well. And if someone asks him where, and he can say that he graduated from Harvard, and Harvard in Chinese sounded like Har Buddha. And so, and people would respect you more if you really have some education. Or if someone asks you where do you graduate from, and you can say Yale. Yale sounds a little bit like Jesus in Chinese. So people would respect you. So in society, they care for the which background or education you got. So if, like say, if your boss is from the same alumni, then it would be easy for you to get promoted. So that's why the good schools are still important, and there's still good use of education. So at least sometimes you don't apply what you study. It's not necessarily that way. Like GrandMaster never studied religion or religious studies. But now I walk the religious path. If I knew ahead of time, I would have studied in the monastery or religion studies. But I studied survey. But there's still benefit of that. It's related to my geomancy. So there's still good benefit for studying or getting education. So that's why I asked Dutan Siddhi to study. So and also at the same time to study the Buddhist teaching, Buddha Dharma, for the sutras, mantras, practices, procedures, sadhanas, the knowledge. And then when he has attainment in the future, he can provide salvation for sentient beings. So I told Dutan Siddhi that studying and learning are also important. So if you're not educated, you may not be able to read. If you're not well versed in Chinese, then you cannot read a lot of the Buddhist sutras, or you can learn Tibetan, Sanskrit, Pali. Oh.
这里有个笑话啊，这个老师啊，给家长一个语文卷子要签字。
The teacher gives the parents
学生呢也写了字
a note
也写了语文
to sign.
爸爸呢就教训了那个
And the student also wrote something. And the parents reprimanded the son. You know, your handwritings are really ugly. How long has it been since you wrote? And he said, I use the computer to change. Because before he used computer, I use computer to type. It's very rare to handwrite this day. And the parents saw another girl who used the computer, but GrandMaster still do handwriting. GrandMaster doesn't use computers, because most of you who use computers don't write with hand anymore, right? Don't write by hand. Most of you use computers and don't write. So Xiaomei told the dad, well, don't reprimand me. I still use pen, but it's actually the brow pen, brow pencil, the pencil. So that's quite troublesome. When you learn something new, you forget about the old one. So you need to be able to read Chinese. You cannot think that you don't need to study. You can just use the computer. Sometimes you still have to write by hand. Otherwise, you would forget. Because the Chinese character has the strokes, the dot, the hook, this way and this way. So there's the stroke in each character. If you could only type, you could not write. You will not be able to write in the future. That's why there's still some use in learning, studying. Chinese culture is quite tremendous. If you don't understand it, it's hard to imagine. It has its own profound meaning. There's this joke. That's a beautiful girl. That's very hopeful and asked the doctor, I want to enlarge my breast. And what would be the effect of the enlargement? And the doctor answered 4 different results. This is also play of words of Chinese. It's extraordinarily big. A second is it's rather different. It's not funny in English. And third is they're all not so big, and the fourth is they're of different size. So, but in Chinese, they're all of the same 4 characters, but in a different sequence. It means different things. There's no other language that can do that, only Chinese. So long live Chinese. So Chinese is really good. You have to learn Chinese. English is just so-so. English is not so profound. But Chinese, you have to study it well. English is good enough. It's good enough. If you can also be proficient in Sanskrit, Tibetan, or Japanese, then you can go anywhere in the world. And one more, Spanish. If you know Spanish, English, Chinese, then you can go anywhere in the world. You need at least these 3 languages. How long has it been? 55 minutes. Oh, you lifted the card earlier, but the photographer blocked it, so I didn't see it. So I felt that the time is up. It's about 55 minutes. Let me just share a small joke. If marriage is the burial for romance, then the wedding anniversary is like going to the tombstone to clean it up. There are a lot of jokes about marriage. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Om Mani Padme Hum.